So we'll be looking into another properties associated with threads. First is alive, next one is get ID, and the next one will be get state. So just looking here, this is one thread. So we are extending the thread, and in the run method, you are calling that FR loop, and you are printing the value of your I from 1 to 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the basic the values of your I will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just you are running a loop and you are executing the statements. Now come back here. Start your execution starts with your main. So we have created an instance of your isAlive, that is this class, as T1. Right, T1 is in bond state. Now to know that one, we have created this system.out.println T1.getState. I'll run this program once. Right, now see here. The first statement, start your execution with your main. You have created one instance of this particular class. Now I'm writing system.out.println T1.getState. Now what is the state of your T1? I've been telling you from the beginning about your Java thread model that when an instance is created, your thread will be in new bond state. Now you can see the same thing here. The state is new. When you are trying to return T1.getState, you got the state is new. Now the next step, we are writing system.out.println, okay, before T1.start, before T1.start. I didn't even start the thread. It is right, just born. It is in the new state. But observe that isAlive will return you either false or true values. It returns Boolean value. So when you are writing T1.isAlive before starting T1, then it is false. It is not alive. Once your T1 starts only, then it is alive. That is the reason. Now once after this, if at all you are trying to print T1.isAlive, then you will be getting the answer as true. In between, there is one more property called get ID. It will generate a unique ID, and the unique ID generated for T1 here is 12. Right? Other than that, because you have already invoked T1.start, this will invoke your run method. Right? It may not be sure that this is executed or this is executed. Now here what happened? It is these two statements are executed, and then the control goes back, and it is printing the values of I as 1 to 5. But I'll repeat this. This particular program will explain you the properties called getState, isAlive, as well as getID. So just we have taken one normal example. You can substitute this getState everywhere and you can check the answer also, and isAlive also, as well as getID. Create some 2 to 3 threads and you can check T1.getID, T2.getID, and so on. So this is an example. So here you need to understand that the first one T1, when I have created an instance, the T1 is in the new bond state. That is your new state. You got the answer that. Next one, before your T1.start, if at all you are checking isAlive, T1.isAlive. isAlive obviously will return the Boolean value, whether true or false. So before start, if you try to call isAlive function, T1.isAlive will return you the false value. After your thread is started, if at all you are creating, if at all you are calling isAlive function, then it gives you the true value. Right? Other than that, now we are having one getID function, like getID method. So this will return you the unique value. Now the unique value here is 12. Right? Now we'll come back to the normal execution. T1.getState is new. This is false. Then T1.start. This will invoke your run method. And again, as far as the concurrent program is considered, there is no guarantee that this will be executed or this will be executed. So what will happen here? T1.start will invoke your run method. And here what is happening? It is coming back and it is printing T1.start is T1.isAlive is true. Obviously it has started, so the value will be true here. Now after that, it is returning you the T1.getID, a unique ID value generated is 12, right? Now your main is completed. There are no more statements in your main. So it goes to the another thread and it will be printing 1 to 5 values. So how many threads are there in this program? 2 threads. One is main thread and one is your isAlive example. This is another thread. So you have seen getState is one function, isAlive as well as getID. And again, this is as it is. Once you are calling T1.start, run method is invoked, and you may have the execution of these two statements, or it can come back and it can execute these two statements also. Right? The next one we'll be seeing is your priority. We'll be seeing is the priority, an important property of the threads. We have seen the contents also. There is one specific topic called as your thread priorities. Now, see, right from the beginning, whenever we are having the concurrent execution, I kept telling you that you can't guess the output of your threads because it depends purely upon the processor time. Like for example, this one. Right here, I have started the thread. It went to your, it invoked run, but there is no guarantee that these two statements are executed. Before that, the control is jumping back to your main and again jump backs here. Suppose consider I'm having another thread, what will happen? The control keeps floating between all these three threads. So this is the usual output of your threads because of concurrent programming. Now, there is a way to control this concurrent programming. This is done using a thread priority. So you can set the thread priority as the highest priority. Suppose consider that I am having T1, T2, T3 as three threads. Consider that I am having right T1, T2 as well as T3 as the threads along with your main function. What is the flow usually? Main will call T1, again it comes back, main will call T2, the control goes back, again main will call your T3. So the four threads will be in concurrent execution. Now suppose consider that the normal priority, if you don't set any priority for your threads, the normal priority, you will be associating the property called as norm underscore priority. So the normal priority value is always given as 5. The minimum priority value is 1 and the maximum priority set can be set as 10. So there are three values or three properties associated with your thread priority. The norm value, norm underscore priority you call it as. So that value is 5. If you don't set anything, it is your normal value, which is 5. Now the next one is the minimum priority value will be 1 and the maximum priority value will be 10. Right. Now, suppose consider that main has started your T1 and you have set the priority of your T1 as 10. That means that T1 is of highest priority. So T1 will be executed to its whole and then only the control jumps to your main function and then the chance will be given to your T2 and T3. This is what you mean by priority. I'll repeat. In case I am having a program with main thread and three other threads like T1, T2, T3, main thread will start T1. So if you are setting the priority value of your T1 with highest value as 10, what will happen? Main thread will start. Then immediately if you write T1 dot set priority of 10, T1 is having highest priority. So once your T1 is started, it executes to its whole and then only the control goes back to your main function where it will start T2. Now again, if T2 is also having highest priority, T2 will be executed to its whole and then the control jumps back to your main function and similarly it will be done with your T3 also. So if at all you consider that, you need to have the main problem with your concurrent execution is you don't have any control. We saw many example programs where there is a chance like that thread may be executed or this thread may be executed. So if you really want to stop that one, then what you need to do is in order to control that sort of execution, usually you'll be going, if at all you think that my T1 should be executed to its whole and it should be given highest priority, just set the priority of your T1 as 10. Now, till now in the programs, we never set any value for the priority, right? That is the reason it has taken, that is by default, the priority will be normal priority, which is 5. So all the threads like main T1, T2, T3, all are at 5. That is the reason the control will be executed. The control will interleaving execution will be done, and the control keep jumping from main to T1, T1 to T2, T2 to 3, again come back to the main, and so on. This was what uh, this is what was happening. So what is happening? Main will start T1. Again, the control may come back to your main. Main may start T2. After that, the control can go back to your T1. This is all maybe. There is all the chances like maybe. So if at all you want to control such sort of execution, you are having primarily you are having the functions like join function and priority function, as well as at a point you can go for your synchronize also. So to control such sort of execution, we will be going for the priority method, right? So we'll go back to your program, right? Now see here, a little bit lengthy program. Just try to analyze. We will see partly. We'll go in block by block. The first one is class A1 extends thread. So my A1 is now a thread and it is having run function which is executing inside run method in class A. The A1 you can write and it should be printed 5 times. Similarly, B1 is also extending thread. The same thing. Now what is happening here? I equal to 0 to 5. Now inside run method in the class B. Right. Now we are taking one more class called as your THR priority, which is a basic class in which main method is also there. Main method is also present. So it extends thread. Now we are writing in the run method I equal to 0, I less than 5. Again inside run method th priority. Now start with your main. We'll go step by step. Start with your main. I have created the instance of T1, this one. Instance of T1. Created the instance of A1, which is T2, and the instance of B1, which is T3. All instances are created. I didn't start yet any thread, but I have created the instances of all the 3 threads. Now I am writing T1 dot get priority, T2 dot get priority, T3 dot get priority. Right? Now we will see what is the output. As I said, what is the default priority? Default priority will be your normal priority. What is your normal priority? 5. Maximum priority is 10 and the minimum priority is 1. Now, when I am writing T1, T1 dot get priority, see the first one. T1 thread priority is 5, T2 thread priority is 5, and T3 thread priority is also 5. Done with this. Now, the second part I am writing T1 dot set priority of 10. What is 10? It sets the highest value. This is the highest value. So when you are writing T1 dot set priority of 10, this means that T1 is at the highest one. So there should be no interleaving execution and all. T1 at any point, it should execute to its whole. So first I have set T1 dot set priority of 10 with the maximum priority, and then you are calling T1 dot start. What does your T1 dot start ensure? It will ensure that your run method is invoked. Now because you have set the priority as 10, that means highest priority, it goes here and it will execute it to its whole, that is all the 5 inside run method THR priority. So now this is having highest priority. Highest priority in the sense at any point of time, this should be executed first. Then only the control can interleave to the other parts of the execution. So now what is happening? T1 dot set priority of 10 you have done, and when you are writing T1 dot, so now you can observe earlier what happened. Whenever your start was called, your run method will be invoked, but this part won't execute. It in turn comes to your main. Why? At that point of time, your main as well as this particular THR priority was having the same priority, 5. So definitely there will be an interleaved concurrent execution. Now what is happening here? Because I have set the T1 priority as 10, T1 will execute completely. Now this is what you can see. T1 will be executing completely. I equal 0, I less than 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has printed your inside right run method th priority 1 2 3 4 5 times it has printed. Now done with this T1, right? Now you are calling even T2 dot start as well as T3 dot start. Have you set any priority for T2 and T3? No. So what will be the normal priority? They both will be at the same value, that is 5. Main your T2 as well as T3 will have the normal priority called as your 5. Now again, just for your reference, we are writing again. We are once you see the comment T3 dot set priority of 21, there are only usually, if at all you are giving any other values, it will throw an illegal argument exception. It's like 21 is not valid, so it throws an illegal argument exception. So anyways, we can see here. So the next one again we are asking about T1 dot get priority, T2 dot get priority, and T3 dot get priority. Now you can see here. See, T1 is done. T1 has executed to its whole. It has given all this, that is, it has printed 5 times this value and it is done. Now how many threads are there? That is your main thread, and you are having T2 and T3. All are at the same level. Now what will happen? Between main T2 and T3, now the concurrent execution will happen. Now anyways you are writing T1 dot get priority. What is your T1 dot get priority? Because I have given here 10, we are again printing 10, right? This, where is this statement? It is a part of your main thread. So a part of main thread is T2.start and T3.start will invoke your run method of T2 and T3. And now before that is executed completely, it jumped to, that is the control jumps to your main function, and this particular this statement is executed where it is showing you the value called T1.set priority is 10. Now what about these two priorities? It has printed here T2 thread priority and T3 thread priority. But what is happening? As I said, you main, your T2 and T3 are still in the concurrent execution, and they are all are three are at the same level. Now you can't guess. Again, the same whatever we have seen previously will still be valid here. So now what is happening? T2 dot get priority. Observe here, this statement is executed, and then inside run method in the class A is executed, right? Then inside run method in the class B executed. This won't be the same every time, because your T2, T3 and main are at the same point. For this particular part of the execution, this run, you got this answer. Now again it comes back to your, yeah, see, this statement was executed, then the control jumped to your this A1. It has printed inside run method in class A for all the 5 times. Then meanwhile your, this is already started T3 also. So this statement is executed now. Now it comes to your main, where it left, it has printed only this value. Now it is printing the other two values T2 and T3, which are at 5, right? And the next one will be your main thread. This is only to get the information how to print the priority of your main thread. How to print the priority of your main thread? Whenever you are writing current thread, wherever you feel like the it is still in your main function, just write thread dot current thread dot get name. It is printing your main. This we have seen in the get name only. Now we are writing thread dot current thread dot get priority. Anyways, it is in the main function. So this is your main. What is the main's current priority? It is 5. Now you can even set the priority of your main also. How you will be setting that? Again, thread dot current thread dot set priority of 10, similar to your T1 dot set priority. Main, whenever it is executing, it will be the current thread. So the direct way of invoking your main is thread dot current thread. Now set the property priority of your current thread as 10. Now the main priority of your main thread is 10. Earlier by default it is 5, normal priority, nominal priority. Now what you have done? You have set this priority as 10. So it has given the priority value as 10, right? So observe here, on the whole, this whole state, this whole program concentrates only on get priority function. So one thing is, the first one you need to observe is, you are having 3 priority levels. The first one is normal priority, minimum priority, maximum priority. Minimum, if you give, it will be the last thread to be executed. If you give highest priority, that thread will be executed with high priority. That is, it will be executed on the whole, and then only the control jumps to the other parts of the threads. That is the other threads. So if you give low priority, okay. If a thread is having same priority, then obviously what will happen? Concurrent execution. Both are at the same level. Simple point. Priority, highest priority, that thread will be executed to the whole, and it will be the first one with the highest priority. And if the other thing is like one is the minimum priority, then it is the last one to be executed. Otherwise, it is your 5. 5 will be your normal priority. If you don't set any priorities, everything is at the same level. That is the reason till now whatever the programs you have seen were actually executing concurrently, right? So what is happening here is, if at all you want to have a little bit control on the threads, then you can go for your priority. So if you think that some thread should be executed to its whole, give the highest priority to that. And if at all you think that it is okay, no matter whatever you do, like you are not worried about the output of one thread, then what you can do, you can obviously go and you can give the least priority for that. Until and unless that is there, you can, if at all that is not a matter at all, what you can do, you can give the same priority, no need to set also the priority. So set priority and get priority are the function which can be used on your threads to control the execution of your threads.